Hello my friends, and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how you can get started using NixOS on WSL. I'm going to do this with the help of my NixOS WSL starter template. So this is a little template that I put together which is intended to be a sane, batteries included starter for running NixOS on WSL. So why don't we get into it? We're going to be following along with the quick start. So the first thing that we want to do is head to the NixOS WSL repository, which is maintained by Nix Community, and grab the latest release. You want to get the file titled nixos-wsl.tar.gz. I already have this downloaded here, so we can continue. So the first thing that we want to do is install this. I'm going to copy this command. I'm going to modify it a little bit because I already have NixOS installed. So I'm going to call this temp NixOS so I don't get it confused. The next argument is the folder where the virtual hard disk file will be created. And then this third argument is the file that we're going to load. And of course, we want this to be WSL version 2. So I'm going to go ahead and import this. It says it may take a few minutes. I find that actually it takes less than a minute, but that may vary depending on your system. Now that we have it installed, we can enter the distro. So mine was called temp NixOS, so I'm just going to make a little modification there. And we are in. So if I do cd pwd for present working directory, we have this kind of default user called NixOS. We have NixOS at NixOS. We're going to change that. So first thing that we want to do is set up a channel. And we want to update that. And we're doing this so that we can actually install some packages. The two packages that we are going to install are git, so that we can clone, and NeoVim, so that we can edit. So go ahead, type in nix shell -p git NeoVim. -p is for the packages that we're going to install, and you'll see a bunch of paths being copied from the NixOS cache. When that is done, we are ready to clone this repository or your own fork of this repository to the temp directory. And we're doing this because we are going to blow away this NixOS account and replace it with our own. So here we are in the repository that we cloned, and we're going to go into the flake.nix file with NeoVim or whichever editor you prefer. And we're going to set up our own username. So we go right down to the bottom, and here we have example user. I'm going to change that, and I can get rid of this fix me notification. We'll save that, and then we are ready to build and apply this configuration. Now, this may take a moment depending on the speed of your internet connection, so I am going to pause here and unpause when it's done so you don't have to sit and wait for all of these network requests to complete. All right, so all of those network requests have now terminated, and we have applied our configuration. So next, we're going to exit out of this. Exit once out of the Nix shell and then once out of WSL, and we want to restart and reconnect to the current shell. So mine again is called temp NixOS. One command to terminate and another command to reattach. So we can do cd to home and present working directory again. And now we are in our new user directory. So bring that to the top. So the reason why we cloned into temp is so that we could basically pull that back into our new home directory. So we're going to do move temp configuration to home configuration. If I do ls now, configuration is there. Pretty cool. The next thing that we're going to do here is install LunarVim, because it has a lot of very sane configurations set up out of the box. We're going to select no to all of these prompts to install dependencies, and we're going to go ahead and let this get set up. Again, the time taken for the first time setup will vary based on your system and the amount of resources that you allocate to WSL VMs. Now that this has completed, we can test it out by running LVim. Oh, and that is set up very nicely indeed. So we can go into our home.nix and we can set our editor variable now to LVim. And yeah, that's pretty cool, right? So we're gonna, so we haven't actually applied this yet, right? So if I do echo editor, we still have NeoVim. So let's rebuild this once. And then we can source our configuration with this alias refresh. And now if I echo editor again, oh, damn it. That's not cool. Hang on. Ah, that's silly of me. That is a session variable, which means that in order to get the new one, you can't just refresh. You have to exit out of the shell and load a new session. So now if we do this, we have LVim as our editor. So let's take a moment and go through all of the fix me references in this repository. So we can search for fix me. So here, if there are any warnings that you get about insecure packages, I would add them one by one as and when you need them. There is a configuration option that lets you permit any and all insecure packages, but I would recommend against that. That is the only fix me here. So we can move on to the next file here, which is wsl.nix. Uncomment the next line if you want to reference your GitHub GitLab access tokens. So there is a file here. It's more like a placeholder file where you can put in your OAuth access tokens for GitHub and GitLab. And if you so choose, you can uncomment this secrets line here, and then you can add in your access tokens here. And this is very useful if you want to pull in private repositories as part of build steps in your projects, but we don't need this right now. If you do use this, I highly recommend that you use something like gitcrypt to encrypt this file on your fork. This file, secrets.json, right now is unencrypted because it's just a placeholder. So we can get rid of this. What is the next fix me? You can change your shell here if you don't want to use Z shell. I'm very happy with Z shell, so we'll go ahead and leave that. We're running on WSL. I typically don't enable OpenSSH on WSL, but if you want to, you can uncomment this line, get rid of this. I quite like being able to run Docker commands without having to type sudo, so I will enable this extra Docker group for my user. And because we're not using OpenSSH, I'm not going to add a public key or a hashed password. Yeah. delete. One thing I do want to mention is Win32Yank is installed in this template by default. If you don't know what that is, this is the thing that will allow you to copy and paste between NeoVim on WSL and Windows without any hassle. So I just did a copy from here and pasted it here. Why don't I do a copy from here, the browser, to NeoVim again? And now I'm pressing P in NeoVim to paste, and it works. So that took me quite a while to get right. This just works out of the box for you, which is nice. So we're not going to change the shell. The next fix me relates to the secrets and the access tokens. As I said, I'm not going to set that up here, but you are welcome to. And that is it for the WSL.nix file. The next file that gets called is home.nix. So again, you can reference your access tokens here if you want to put them into your Git config. As I said, we're not going to do that in this walkthrough. What do we have here? Unstable packages. So unstable packages are not actually unstable. They're just the bleeding edge latest versions of the packages. So for me, these are the ones that I like to have at the bleeding edge. You can modify these as you see fit. The next thing that we have down here is the list of stable packages. And so what stable means here is whatever is whichever versions are in the latest fixed release of NixOS. So right now that is 23.05. It will take those versions. So we already included a couple of key dependencies required for LunarVim, which is why the setup was so easy. And you can just go through these, right? Like these are the core languages that I work with: Rust, Go, all of that sort of stuff. Tree Sitter for nice NeoVim integration, some language servers that I like, and linters. Add and remove from these as you see fit. NixOS search, you'll find the names of packages on here. So if what is a language? Zig. If you want to install Zig, you can come here and you can find, oh, okay, here is Zig. If you want the Zig language server, ZLS, you can find the name of the package here, and then you can add Zig and you can add ZLS, if you would like. One thing that I will take a moment to mention is that we're still using RustUp, which means, why didn't I get another? Let me get a terminal open for a second. So if I try and do a cargo command, it's going to say, hey, you don't have a stable toolchain. So we'll do RustUp default stable to pull in the latest stable toolchain. And I believe that most people will also want to install Rust Analyzer. So you'll do RustUp component add Rust Analyzer. So even though we are installing Rust tools, you're still working using RustUp. So let's get back to home. Fix me. So we've been through all of these stable packages. So here is where we set our preferred editor. We changed that to LunarVim. And if you want, you can set a different preferred shell here as well. If you have any packages that do not fit into stable packages or unstable packages, you can add them here in this list. And you'll reference them with packages.whatever, or if you're getting something from the unstable channel, you'll reference them as packages.unstable.zls or whatever you would like. So yeah, we're not adding anything here, so this can just be an empty list. If you have your own LunarVim config that you want to bring in, just add it to the root of this repository, do a git add, and then you can uncomment this line and it will put it where it needs to be. Right now we're just rolling with the default LunarVim configuration, which I think is pretty good for most people. So we'll remove that fix me. The prompt that we're using in the shell is Starship. I like Starship a lot. If you don't, you can disable it or you can get rid of it altogether. I'm going to keep it because I like it very much. Here as well, you can disable anything that you don't want. I think Fuzzy Finder, LSD, Zoxide, and Brute make for a very ergonomic terminal development environment. And of course, we enable Z-Shell integration for all of them. Duramv, if you don't know about it yet, you will pretty soon if you're going down the Nix rabbit hole. Just leave this on. Just trust me. Leave it on. So next we have Git. We're always using the latest version of Git. We use Git Delta for diffs. And you can set any options that you want. But the main fix-me's that you need to do here are adding your email, because this is going to generate your Git config, and your username. And if you would like to do Git replacements in the URLs with your tokens, you can pull those in using the secrets here. So whenever you type git clone https github anything, it will automatically insert this OAuth token. However, we will not be doing this. And the final fix-me, I think, here is the generation of the Z-Shell RC. I think these are some pretty sane defaults based on mine. I have two plugins, the fast syntax highlighting and the Nix shell integration. I've got a bunch of aliases here as well. So I got used to these ... aliases from Oh My Z Shell. I use Zoxide instead of CD, which lets you kind of fuzzy search. Like, you don't need to be relative to a directory. If you know the name of the directory and you've been in there before, it will just find it for you. GC to collect garbage in Nix. Usually you don't need to do this because we have set automatic garbage collection for things that we're not using older than 7 days. If you would like to add more Git aliases, you can add them here. These are just the ones that I use regularly. And finally, some Windows specific ones that are based on my prior experience with macOS. I quite like pbcopy and pbpaste. pbcopy uses clip.exe under the hood, and pbpaste uses a PowerShell command under the hood. The last one is Explorer. Explorer is quite useful to, like here I'm in, what am I in? I am in a WSL shell in the configuration file. I can do Explorer dot, and that's gonna bring me up into a Explorer window in this directory, which is kind of useful. Sometimes it's useful. So I think we're nearly at the end of home now. Yeah, so those are the shell aliases. You can add to those as you want. I add a local bin folder just in case I want to do something wacky. And then, you know, the basic Emacs bindings to get them to work properly. Some sane completion defaults. I believe that there is a reference that I took a lot of this from here that you can go and check out. I hope it's still online. Yes, it is. Yeah, and then just, you know, some common things. And of course, sensible word chars. So I actually wrote a blog about this, sensible word chars for most developers. And the way this is set up, like let's let's do this. So if I have ls home, usually on base Z shell, if you were to press Alt and backspace, it would kill this whole line. But this is set up so that it doesn't do that. And also home, it's set up so that it doesn't eat the dashes or 1, 2, or the underscores, which I find very, very helpful and very, very useful. So yeah, there's one thing that I would encourage you to add, actually, now that I think about it. A command alias here. So I like rebuild, and I like for rebuild to be not this one, this one. So instead of typing out this, oh, not that one, this one, this is the one. Yeah, I don't like typing this out every single time. So let's rebuild with, well, first we need to use the long command. So let's rebuild and get any changes that we made applied. This time we can refresh our, our Z shell RC file. And now we have rebuild. So now in the future, after you make changes, you can just hit rebuild. And I think that is pretty cool. I think that is pretty cool indeed. So let's take a quick look at LunarVim. So let's some Rust project. We can do cargo init. And let's just open up main.rs. So you can see that it has set up Rust Analyzer, the tree sitter parser has been installed. So now you got all the things. You got all the things. Same for any language. You can also use this when you press space to get interactive help, quite similar to Helix, if you're familiar with that. So no, let's not save those. Let's get rid of this. And I think that is everything that I wanted to show. So you can take a much closer look at the README here if you would like. It goes into detail about how this is set up, what is included. It of course has the quick start that we ran through, and it has a high level explanation of the project layout. And I deliberately chose a flat layout to make it as approachable as possible to people who are maybe not as familiar with NixOS. I really, really hope that this was helpful for those of you who have been thinking about flirting with NixOS. I think that running NixOS in WSL is a great and safe way to get started because you don't have a risk of bricking your system. You can always bring up a new WSL VM. If you found this useful, please consider becoming a GitHub sponsor. Most people sponsor my tiling window manager project, Komorebi. If you're wondering how I had tiling window management here while I was doing this video, it is Komorebi. So check that out if you don't already know about it. You can be a one-time sponsor, monthly sponsor, whatever you would like. Even if it's just like a one-time $1 thing or $1 a month, it means a great deal to me, and I would appreciate it very much. Otherwise, if you're not able to become a sponsor for whatever reason, please do make sure to hit subscribe on the YouTube channel where you are probably watching this video. If you would like to keep up to date with me, what I am doing, what I am reading, what I am writing, what I'm reading, you can follow my software development feed, which you can subscribe to via RSS. This is basically everything that I have read on the internet, whether it's comments, whether it's tweets, whether it's highlights from blogs from articles that I find interesting and relevant to good software development. You can also find me on Hachyderm, Mastodon, and Twitter. The links are here in the bio. Please leave any questions, comments, clarifications in the comments. I'd be very happy to receive those from you and reply to them. And yeah, I hope that whatever you will do today, you have a great day. I hope you have a lot of fun with NixOS. And yeah, like tweet me, send me a toot on Mastodon to let me know how it's going. That's all for this time. I hope to see you all back here next time. Goodbye for now.